"How can I get there?" asked Dorothy. "You must walk. It is a long journey through a country that is sometimes pleasant and sometimes dark and terrible. However, I will use all the magic I know of to keep you from harm." "Won't you go with me?" pleaded the girl, who had begun to look upon the little old woman as her only friend. "No, I cannot do that," she replied. "But I will give you a kiss, and no one will dare injure a person who has been kissed by the Witch of the North." She came close to Dorothy and kissed her gently on the forehead. Where her lips touched the girl, they left a round mark, as Dorothy found out soon after. "The road to the City of Emeralds is paved with yellow bricks," said the witch, "so you cannot miss it. When you get to Oz, do not be afraid of him, but tell your story and ask him to help you. Goodbye, my dear." The three Munchkins bowed low to her and wished her a pleasant journey, after which they walked away through the trees. The witch gave Dorothy a friendly little nod, whirled around on her left heel 3 times, and suddenly disappeared, much to the surprise of little Toto, who barked after her loudly enough when she had gone, because he had been afraid even to growl while she stood by. But Dorothy was not surprised. She knew the old woman was a witch and had expected her to disappear in just that way. Chapter 3. How Dorothy Saved the Scarecrow. When Dorothy was alone, she began to feel hungry, so she went to the cupboard and took some bread on which she spread some butter. She gave some to Toto, and taking a pail from the shelf, she carried it down to the little brook and filled it with clear water. Toto ran over to the trees and began to bark at the birds sitting there. Dorothy went to get him and saw delicious fruit hanging from the branches. She stopped and gathered some of it, finding it just what she wanted for breakfast. Then she went back to the house, and, having helped herself and Toto to a good drink of the cool water, she set about making ready for the journey to the City of Emeralds. Dorothy had only one other dress, but it happened to be clean and was hanging from a hook beside her bed. It had spots of white and blue on it. And although the blue was somewhat faded with many washings, it was still a pretty frock. The girl washed herself, dressed herself, and put a pink hat on her head. She took a little basket and filled it with bread from the cupboard, laying a white cloth over the top. Then she looked down at her feet and noticed how old and worn her shoes were. "They are not suited to a long journey, Toto," she said, and Toto looked up into her face with his little black eyes and wagged his tail to show he knew what she meant. At that moment, Dorothy remembered the silver shoes that had belonged to the Witch of the East.